Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
From makeshift studios deep in the heart of stately Maine Manor, this is the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I am your host, Joey Harris. You can follow the show's Twitter at Cup of Joe Pod. You can email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. And folks, I said this last week and it's even more true now. The people lately that we're losing in the wrestling world, and right after I finished recording the last episode, I got word that longtime Mid-Atlantic super fan and all-around just great woman, Peggy Lathan, had passed away suddenly and unexpectedly. And I just would like to send out my thoughts and well wishes to her family and her friends and her fans. And she will definitely be missed. And it is hot and it is humid here in New England, which we are not used to this heat and this humidity here. I'm originally from North Carolina and we're used to it there. We don't like it, but we're used to it. But here, you can take it. Everybody's just, it's just too hot to do anything. Have you ever had those days where it's just too hot to do anything? But it does get me in the mood for the show that we're looking at today, because today we're going to be looking at the big event from the WWF. The big event took place on August the 28th, 1986, from Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, Canada, with 61,470 people in attendance. Gorilla Monsoon, Ernie Ladd, and Luscious Johnny V are your announcers. We start out with a helicopter shot of Toronto with Mean Gene Okerlund commentating about the city, interspersed with shots from the event. The Killer Bees B. Brian Blair and Jumpin' Jim Brunzell versus Hoss and Jimmy Jack Funk with Jimmy Hart. Blair and Hoss start. Hoss with a side headlock. Blair pushes off. Hoss back with a shoulder block. And you know, it's funny how when Dory Funk Jr. comes in, he has to become Hoss Funk, because apparently the story goes, now I don't know if this is true or not, Vince McMahon does not like Jr. He doesn't like anything to do with Jr., so he can't be Dory Funk Jr. He has to be Hoss Funk. Hoss back with a shoulder block. Blair with a hip toss. Blair with a scoop slam to Hoss, and another one for Jimmy Jack when he comes in. Then one to both of them again. The Funks roll outside to regroup. Back in, Hoss with a knee to the gut and forearms to Blair. Blair in the heels corner and trying to get out with punches and elbows to the heels. He runs their heads together. The Funks roll outside again. You can see people smoking because it's the 80s, baby. Jimmy Jack and Brunzell both tagged in, and Jimmy Jack gets a headlock on. Brunzell pushes off and leapfrogs Jimmy Jack and scoop slams him. Shoulder block and Jimmy Jack rolls to the outside. Back in, Hoss tagged back in. He hits Brunzell with some forearms. Irish whip. Brunzell ducks a shot and comes back with a crossbody. He gets a 2 count. Arm drag by Brunzell and Blair tagged in. Blair with a flying elbow shot. Gets a wrist lock on Hoss. Turns it into a hammer lock. Gets a 1 count when the shoulders are down. Back to the wrist lock. Hoss comes back with a scoop slam. Blair responds with a kick to the face. Blair with a scoop slam. Another slam into an armbar. Brunzell tagged in. Hoss working out of the armbar. Hoss with an Irish whip and a back elbow. Jimmy Jack tagged in, and Brunzell with a hip toss. Blair tagged in, and Brunzell holds Jimmy Jack for an elbow smash from the second rope. Blair with a hammerlock. Jimmy Jack reverses it. Blair with a reverse into a fireman's carry, into an armbar, and Brunzell tagged back in. He gets a sleeper on Jimmy Jack. Jimmy Jack starts to go down. Hoss comes in with a shot to break it up while the referee is distracted with Blair. Hoss tagged in and hits some forearm shots. Hoss throws Brunzell to the outside. Jimmy Jack attacks Brunzell on the outside. He slams Brunzell on the outside. Blair comes over and they put on their masks. Now, at this point, when the Bees put on their mask, you can't tell them apart, apparently, which is a heel move, but they're faces, which is very strange. Blair rolls inside the ring. He knocks Hoss down and runs Jimmy Jack into Hoss when he comes in. Blair with an atomic drop to Hoss. Blair with a clothesline. He also clotheslines Jimmy Jack when he comes in to help Hoss. Irish whip into an abdominal stretch by Blair. Jimmy Jack with a clothesline to break up the hold. Brunzell rolls in to take Blair's place while the referee gets Jimmy Jack out of the ring. Jimmy Jack tagged in. Brunzell rolls Jimmy Jack up to get the pin. King Tonga versus Magnificent Morocco with Mr. Fuji. Now, something happens in this match that I don't think has happened before this match or since this match happens. We'll talk about it when we get there. Johnny V does his grandma shtick, which cracks me up to no end. There seems to be a slight edit as we start. They lock up, and Morocco gets a side headlock on. Tonga pushes off and gets a hip toss and then another one. Tonga with a scoop slam. Morocco rolls to the outside to regroup. Back in, they lock up. Morocco with a knee to the midsection. Back and forth. Tonga drop kicks Morocco over the top rope to the floor. Now, this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the match. They mention, like casually, that King Tonga wants to be called Haku now, as Morocco gets back in the ring. Now, there's nothing wrong with changing a person's character, changing a person's name. That's fine. In the middle of a match, that's like talking to someone and in the middle of the conversation they say, "Oh, my name is now Jimmy." Wait, your name is Bob. No, I want it to be Jimmy now. Okay, did it have to be in the middle of the conversation? It's just very strange. They lock up. Haku with a hammerlock. The match is clipped, but it goes back to Haku with a wrist lock on. Morocco driven to his knees. Morocco with a monkey flip to Haku, who doesn't let go of the hold. Haku adds pressure to the shoulder to try to make Morocco give up. Morocco gets back to his feet. Morocco with an Irish whip. And Fuji trips Haku. The crowd boos Fuji. Morocco with a forearm to the back of Haku. Morocco with a knee lift. Morocco lifts Haku up and throws him to the outside. Morocco argues with the referee while Fuji attacks Haku with his cane. Morocco slams Haku back into the ring. Morocco with a nerve hold on the back of Haku's neck. Haku fights it, but he is fading. The referee checks him and lets his hand fall about 6 times, which is weird. Haku finally comes back. Haku back to his feet. Haku with some elbows to Morocco's stomach. Back and forth again. Haku with some stiff shots. Haku with an Irish whip and a drop kick. Boots to the stomach and a corner whip. Misses the corner charge when Morocco moves. Morocco with some kicks to Haku while he is down in the corner. Morocco goes outside and wraps Haku's leg around the corner post and slams it into the post. He does it again. Morocco rolls back in and picks Haku up and slams his knee down on Morocco's leg. Haku in some pain. Haku holding his leg. Morocco tries to hyperextend Haku's leg by doing a takeover with it. Morocco with a step over toe hold. Haku with a kick to Morocco's face to get out of it. Morocco with a kick to the stomach of Haku. Morocco places Haku throat first on the top rope and then jerks the rope back. Morocco fall away chop to Haku's gut. Morocco runs his taped up thumb into Haku's thigh. Morocco gets the figure 4 on. Haku gets to the bottom rope. Morocco with a throat thrust. Morocco with another backwards takeover to Haku's leg. Morocco goes out to the apron to bow to Fuji and then to the crowd before going to the top rope. He gets caught and slammed off. Haku with shots to Morocco's stomach, then chops and shots to the face. He knocks Morocco down and climbs to the top and hits a cross body, and the referee goes to count the pin as the bell rings to show that time has expired. The match is ruled a draw. Ted Arcidi versus Tony Gurria. Test of strength to begin, which Arcidi easily wins. Arcidi pushes Gurria off easily on 3 lockups. Gurria with a side headlock. Arcidi pushes off and Gurria tries to shoulder block Arcidi, but he doesn't move. Gurria goes back to the side headlock. Arcidi gets to the ropes. Arcidi with a violent push-off that knocks Gurria down and across the ring. Arcidi with a scoop slam. Arcidi with a corner whip and a back elbow. Arcidi runs Gurria into the corner. Arcidi with an Irish whip, but drops his head, and Gurria gets a boot to the face. Gurria with a shoulder block and a drop kick to finally knock Arcidi off of his feet. Gurria with a leapfrog, and then he runs into a bear hug by Arcidi. Gurria tries to fight it, but eventually gives up. Arcidi finally lets Gurria go. Mean Gene talks to Jimmy Hart. Hart says tonight is the night that he gets even with the Junkyard Dog. He and Adrian Adonis make their way to the ring. Adrian Adonis with Jimmy Hart versus the Junkyard Dog. Adonis tries to crowd JYD into the corner. JYD with a shot to knock Adonis down. Adonis is bumping like crazy for JYD's shots. JYD busting Adonis open with shots from his chain. Adonis down and JYD hits a headbutt. Adonis driven shoulder first into the ring post. Corner whip and Adonis up and over and falls to the outside. Adonis is run across the top rope on the apron by JYD. Another headbutt to Adonis. The referee shoved out of the way by JYD, so Hart comes up on the apron and sprays JYD in the face with the atomizer. Adonis with an Irish whip and a clothesline. Adonis with a knee drop, then another one. Adonis with another shot to JYD from the second rope for a 2 count. JYD is thrown to the outside. JYD hit with a shot when he gets back on the apron. Hart attacks JYD with the atomizer. Hart jumps on JYD's back as Adonis climbs up top, but Adonis falls and gets caught in the ropes and JYD shakes Hart off. JYD with a headbutt to knock Adonis to the outside and shots to Adonis's head. Back and forth. They both get back in. Hart gets up on the apron and JYD runs Adonis into Hart, spilling both of them to the outside. The bell rings and the referee raises JYD's hand. He wins by countout. Dick Slater versus Iron Mike Sharp. Slater with a wrist lock into a hammerlock on Sharp. Sharp gets to the ropes. Test of strength. Sharp with a kick to the gut of Slater. Slater responds with his own kick to the gut, driving Sharp down on his knees. Slater then stumps Sharp's fingers. Sharp rolls to the outside to regroup. Sharp back in with a shot to Slater. Sharp with a side headlock. Sharp then waving off Slater. Slater with a shot to the midsection. Then a forearm shot and a headbutt in the corner. Sharp with an Irish whip, misses a clothesline, and Slater catches the boot from Sharp and spins him around. Slater with a swinging neckbreaker. Slater misses the elbow drop. Sharp goes for a scoop slam, but Slater slips behind. Slater with a Russian leg sweep. Slater with a top rope elbow smash. Slater wins with a roll-up. Mean Gene talks to Bobby Heenan. Heenan says in the 6-man tag, the masks are coming off of the machines, and then in the main event, you're going to see him strap the title around the waist of Paul Orndorff, the new champion. Mean Gene says with this crowd, Bobby Heenan is a part of history. Heenan says he makes history. He says it's because of the Heenan family that there are 70,000 people here. He then winds everybody up with interplay with he and Mean Gene. 6-man tag team match. Super Machine, Big Machine, and Captain Lou Albano with Giant Machine versus Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy, and Bobby Heenan. Some background on this match. Andre the Giant had been in storylines suspended for no showing a match against Bundy and Studd. In reality, he was taking time off to film The Princess Bride. To get around his suspension, he put on a mask and became the Giant Machine, who was going to come to America to wrestle with Super Machine, who was Bill Eadie under a mask. It was evident that this was Andre, which drove Bobby Heenan crazy. They then introduced Big Machine, who was Blackjack Mulligan under a mask. He was brought in to help alleviate the work on Andre, who was starting to have severe back issues at the time. Later on, more machines were brought in for special events. Animal Machine, George Steele, Hulk Machine, Hulk Hogan, Piper Machine, Roddy Piper, and Crusher Machine, the Crusher. They are slow getting everyone out of the ring as a weasel chant goes out. Heenan is irate at the chant. Stud and Super Machine start. Stud backs Super Machine into the corner and pushes him. Super Machine pushing back and forth with shots. Super Machine picks Stud up, which brings Heenan in, but Stud is too close to the ropes and grabs them. The weasel chant goes out again. Super Machine with a side headlock. Stud pushes off, and Super Machine comes back with a shoulder block that doesn't move Stud. Super Machine comes back with a series of clotheslines. He finally knocks Stud off of his feet. He rolls to the outside to regroup. Giant Machine attacks Stud on the outside and rolls him back in. Big Machine tagged in. Bundy also tagged in. They circle each other. They finally lock up, and Bundy with a side headlock. Big Machine shoots him off, and Bundy comes back with a shoulder block that doesn't move Big Machine. Big Machine with a shoulder block that doesn't move Bundy. They exchange shots. Bundy driven into a corner. Bundy reverses a corner whip, but misses the corner charge. Big Machine with a big forearm to knock Bundy down. They lock back up, and Bundy with a knee to the gut of Big Machine. Then a big forearm shot to Big Machine, driving him to his knees. He knocks Big Machine down, and Stud tagged back in. Stud gets Big Machine into the corner and hits some elbow shots. Forearm and elbow shots drive Big Machine back down to his knees. Stud with some boots to Big Machine. Heenan tagged in. He hits Big Machine with some shots and tries to take his mask off. Super Machine comes in and nails Heenan, who quickly tags out to Stud. Stud with an Irish whip, but drops his head, and Big Machine hits a foot to the face. Super Machine tagged in, and he unloads on Stud. Corner whip and a back elbow to Stud. Stud comes back with an elbow of his own. Bundy tagged in. He delivers kicks to a prone Super Machine. Heenan and Stud grab Super Machine and work him over while the referee is distracted with the other faces. Super Machine gets out and hits Bundy with some shoulder blocks, trying to knock him down. As he goes for a third one, Stud plants a knee in his back. That gets a 2 count for Bundy. Stud tagged in. Irish whip and a back elbow by Stud. Another elbow and Super Machine is down. Heenan tagged in. Albano also tagged in. Albano gives Heenan a free shot, and he slaps Albano, who then unloads on Heenan. Corner whip by Albano, and Heenan ends up upside down in the corner. Albano kicking Heenan in the corner. Heenan comes back with an eye gouge and punches to Albano. Stud tagged in. They get Albano in the heels corner, and Stud goes over and knocks Super Machine and Big Machine down off the apron with the elbows. Giant Machine comes in and headbutts all of the heels, who win by disqualification. Giant Machine cleaning house on the heels. Snake pit match. No disqualifications. Anything goes. Jake Roberts versus Ricky Steamboat. Steamboat with a good ovation as he comes out. Roberts goes to attack Steamboat before they get their robes off or anything, but Steamboat ducks a short clothesline attempt and returns with chops to Roberts. Irish whip and a backdrop by Steamboat. Roberts rolls out to regroup. They then take their stuff off. Some fans by ringside yell DDT. Back in, Steamboat with chops and slaps to Roberts. Irish whip and a throat chop by Steamboat. Gets a 2 count. Steamboat with a wrist lock. He lifts Roberts up by his arm and slams him down with the wrist lock, still applied. Roberts fights back to his feet. Steamboat with an Irish whip. Roberts ducks the throat chop attempt. Steamboat ducks down and gets it a second time. That gets another 2 count. Steamboat with a hammerlock, and he drops a knee on Roberts' back. Back to the hammerlock. Steamboat goes back to the wrist lock. Roberts misses a thrust. Steamboat comes back with a chop. Then another one, and Roberts is wobbly on his feet. Steamboat with a reverse kick to Roberts. Roberts rolls to the outside. Steamboat comes out, and Roberts drives his shoulder into Steamboat's midsection. They trade shots on the outside. Roberts scoop slams Steamboat on the outside. Roberts drags Steamboat over the support platform and plants a knee on his head. Then Roberts does it again. Steamboat coming back with some shots. Roberts grabs a chair, but Steamboat hits him with a shot before he can use it and uses the chair on Roberts. He throws Roberts back in and hits him with a chop from the top rope. That gets a 2 count for Steamboat. Steamboat goes for an armbar with Roberts on the mat. Roberts makes it back to his feet, and Steamboat runs him into a turnbuckle. Steamboat climbs to the second turnbuckle and delivers punches to Roberts in the corner. Roberts reverses a corner whip, and Steamboat goes up and over the other corner. It goes outside as Roberts delivers a shot to Steamboat. He slingshots Steamboat into the corner post. Steamboat looks seriously dazed and falls off the platform. Roberts runs Steamboat into the barricade. Roberts with a shot to Steamboat and runs him into the platform. Roberts throws Steamboat back in, and we can see that Steamboat is bleeding. Roberts is jabbing Steamboat in the head. Steamboat falls down, and Roberts signals for the DDT. Roberts with a short clothesline. He goes for the DDT, but Steamboat pushes Roberts into a corner. Roberts with a knee lift. Back and forth. Roberts with an inverted atomic drop. Reverse backbreaker by Roberts. Roberts pins Steamboat's shoulders down, and as the referee goes to count, Steamboat brings his legs up and gets Roberts' shoulders and pins him. The crowd goes crazy. Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules. Gorilla is announcing this one after the fact in a studio somewhere, but pretending he's live and doesn't know where Johnny V or Ernie Ladd are. They lock up. Monsoon then says since this match went down, Slick has bought half of the contract of Fred Blassie's men. Oh, Gorilla. Haynes with a side headlock. Hercules pushes off. Haynes comes back with a shoulder block. Hercules hits a clothesline. Hercules with a bear hug. Haynes with a head clap to get out of it. Hercules with some shots to knock Haynes down. Hercules drops an elbow. Then 2 more elbows. That gets a 2 count for Hercules. Hercules runs Haynes into the turnbuckle. Haynes reverses a corner whip, but they block each other and both men down. Double count going. Both up, and Haynes with a kick to the gut. More kicks and shots to Hercules. Haynes with an Irish whip and a back elbow. Haynes with a backbreaker. A forearm to Hercules from the second turnbuckle. That gets a 2 count for Haynes. Haynes goes for the full Nelson, but Hercules fights and gets out of it before Haynes can hook the fingers. Hercules throws Haynes to the outside. Haynes gets on the apron and Hercules hits a shot to his throat. He does it again when Haynes gets back on the apron. Hercules suplexes Haynes back in from the apron. Hercules gets a 2 count. Hercules with a clothesline. He gets a 2 count, but Haynes gets his feet on the ropes. Hercules thinks he's won, and Haynes rolls him up from behind for a 2 count. Haynes then gets a backslide to pin Hercules. The Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond, versus the Dream Team, Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake. Dream Team attack before the bell rings. The Rougeau brothers turn the tables to gain the advantage. They throw the Dream Team outside the ring. Raymond with a tag to Jacques, and then Irish whips Valentine into a sunset flip by Jacques. That gets a 2 count. Jacques with an Irish whip and a back elbow to Valentine. Jacques with a snap mare. Jacques drops a knee on Valentine. Raymond tagged in. Jacques with an Irish whip so Raymond can hit a super kick on Valentine. That gets a 1 count. Jacques with a back elbow to Valentine after he is tagged back in, as Gorilla works in his Nightmare for the Dream Team at WrestleMania 2 comment, so if you're drinking at home, you can take a shot. Jacques gets a 1 count. Jacques with an abdominal stretch. Valentine with a hip lock and Beefcake tagged in. Beefcake with a scoop slam. Raymond tagged in. He shoots Beefcake off and catches him with a chop. Raymond with a snap mare. Double leg drop and cover gets a 1 count. Beefcake gets Raymond in the corner and drives his shoulder into the man's midsection. He runs his knee into Raymond several times. Beefcake runs Raymond into Valentine's boot. Valentine tagged in and goes up top and hits a shot to Raymond's head as Beefcake holds him. Valentine drops a shot to Jacques on the apron when he isn't paying attention and then drops a shot on Raymond. That gets a 1 count. A scoop slam by Valentine gets a 2 count. Valentine with an Irish whip, but Raymond ducks the clothesline and hits a high crossbody for a 1 count. Raymond runs Valentine into Jacques' boot, and Jacques tagged in. Double drop kick to Valentine. Jacques gets a roll up for a 2 count. Valentine chopping Jacques in the heels corner. Beefcake tagged in. He and Valentine drive Jacques back first into the corner. They do it again. Valentine tagged back in. Snapmare to Jacques. Jacques responds with boots to Valentine's face. Valentine with an atomic drop. Beefcake tagged back in. He kicks Jacques' thigh while he is down. Back and forth. Jacques fighting out of the heels corner with punches and elbows. All 4 men in. The Dream Team run into each other. Beefcake slammed down. Ramon backflipped onto Beefcake. Jacques misses a dropkick on Valentine. Valentine breaks up the pin. It goes outside. Valentine rams Ramon on the apron. He does it again. Jacques comes over to break it up. Then both members of the Dream Team ram Ramon into the apron. Jacques starts a Go Ray Go chant. Valentine knocks Ramon down with a punch back in the ring. Beefcake with a backbreaker on Ramon. That gets a 2 count for Beefcake. Valentine tagged back in. He lands a high knee to Ramon's back. Valentine with a forearm to Ramon's back. Then another forearm shot to the back. Valentine gets another 2 count. Then another 2 count for Valentine. He can't get the pin though. Beefcake tagged in. Valentine with an inverted atomic drop. Beefcake with a double stomp. Then another one. Back and forth. Beefcake with a suplex. Gets another 2 count. Valentine tagged back in. Gets Ramon in a bear hug. Ramon with punches trying to get out of the hold. He breaks it, and Valentine comes back with a chop to knock Ramon down. Valentine goes back to the bear hug. Beefcake tagged in and lands a double axe handle to the lower back of Ramon. He gets a 1 count. Beefcake hooks a leg on Ramon and gets a 2 count. A double ear knocker to Ramon, who responds with a punch. Dream Team double teaming in their corner while the referee is dealing with a protesting Jacques. Valentine tagged in. Valentine misses an elbow drop. He misses again as Ramon keeps rolling away. Jacques tagged in. He hits a drop kick on Valentine, then one on Beefcake. Then 2 more drop kicks for each member of the Dream Team. Valentine scoop slam. Then Beefcake scoop slam. Valentine attacks Jacques from behind. Back and forth with punches. Beefcake in and Jacques ducks a double clothesline and comes back and drop kicks both Dream Team members at once. Jacques misses a knee drop from the second turnbuckle when Valentine moves. Valentine goes for the figure 4. Jacques kicks him away. Valentine with a shot and gets the figure 4 on. Jacques is fighting it. Ramon in to break up the hold, then all 4 men in. Ramon and Beefcake fight to the outside. Valentine goes back to the figure 4. Ramon comes in and sunset flips Valentine and gets the pin. Johnny V is beside himself in the broadcast booth. Harley Race versus Pedro Morales. Battle of 2 former world champions here. They lock up and race with a knee to the gut of Morales. Morales coming back with big left hands. He hits one and Race spills to the outside. Race drapes Morales' head over the apron and drops some elbows on him. It goes to the outside and Race drives Morales into the timekeeper's table. Race rolls in to break the count, then goes after Morales again. Diving headbutt to Morales. He runs Morales into a ring post. Morales finally rolls back in. Morales blocks a suplex attempt and gets a suplex of his own in. Morales with a small package for a 2 count. Morales with more left hands. Race reverses a corner whip, but misses the charge when Morales raises his legs. Morales with a sunset flip out of the corner for a 2 count. Morales with more shots to Race. Race rolls Morales up in the corner and pins him with his feet on the ropes. A bullshit chant goes out. The main event between WWF Heavyweight Champion Hulk Hogan and Paul Orndorff had been building up all summer. Hat tip here to Wikipedia. Hogan and Orndorff's friendship had been emphasized on WWF programs throughout the summer, and eventually Adrian Adonis, who had started to host the Flower Shop interview segment, began to say that Orndorff was living in Hogan's shadow. He would call Orndorff Hulk Jr. and say he had gone soft. A series of seemingly minor incidents involving Hogan irritating Orndorff, he and Hogan accepted the challenge of a match with Big John Studd and King Kong Bundy, managed by Orndorff's former manager Bobby Heenan. Orndorff allowed Studd and Bundy to illegally double-team Hogan before he would come in and run them off. Orndorff then helped Hogan to his feet, only to finish Hogan off with a clothesline in his finishing maneuver, the piledriver. Shortly thereafter, Orndorff announced that he had rehired Heenan and demanded a title shot against Hogan. He also started coming out to Hogan's Real American Music and began to mock some of Hogan's mannerisms. WWF Heavyweight Championship match: Hulk Hogan versus Paul Mr. Wonderful Orndorff with Bobby Heenan. Orndorff comes out to Real American, which gets some heat. Security has to surround Orndorff and Heenan to escort them to the ring. Hogan gets a fantastic ovation coming out. A wonderful chant goes out when the referee is checking Orndorff. Orndorff with a clothesline while the referee is checking Hogan. Orndorff stomps on Hogan. Orndorff is intense with punches to the prone Hogan. They roll around the mat looking for position. Hogan with some punches to Orndorff while the crowd cheers. The referee drags Hogan off, which Gorilla Monsoon doesn't like. They trade punches. Hogan with a big right hand to knock Orndorff down and out. Back in, Hogan ducks a clothesline and hits a back elbow to knock Orndorff out again. Orndorff pulls Hogan to the outside. He hits some punches and drives Hogan into the apron. Hogan blocks a second drive attempt into the apron and delivers an elbow to Orndorff and drops him to the apron. He throws Orndorff back in and delivers big right hands to Orndorff, Irish whip, and a clothesline to Orndorff. Hogan lands a big elbow drop to Orndorff. He tells Orndorff to get up. Hogan with a corner whip and a clothesline. Hogan works to the crowd, allowing Orndorff to get a shot to the stomach. While the referee is checking on Orndorff, Heenan gets a shot in on Hogan. Hogan blocks a shot and hits a right hand in an atomic drop. Orndorff is running to the corner from the atomic drop. Hogan goes after Heenan, who takes off around the ring. Heenan comes into the ring to get away from Hogan, and Orndorff attacks Hogan when he follows. Orndorff dropping knees to Hogan's head. Orndorff with kicks and more knees to Hogan's head. Hogan's Head was a good show. No, I think that was Herman's Head in Hogan's Heroes. But I digress. A Hogan chant goes out. Then an Orndorff chant goes out. Orndorff with a clothesline that knocks Hogan out. Orndorff with a suplex to Hogan outside the ring. Orndorff gets back into the ring and poses. Orndorff with a running knee to Hogan when he tries to get back in the ring. Orndorff arguing with the referee. Orndorff stomps on Hogan when he tries to get back in the ring. Orndorff with an elbow to Hogan with Hogan's head draped over the ring apron. Orndorff drops more elbows. Another elbow drop from the apron knocks Hogan to the outside. Orndorff says this is a world champion as he points to himself. A Hogan chant goes out again. Orndorff drapes Hogan over the top rope and delivers a forearm. Orndorff with a rake to the face. Orndorff with a throat thrust to Hogan. Orndorff arguing with the official and drops a knee on Hogan. That gets a 2 count for Orndorff. Orndorff arguing with the referee. Orndorff with a scoop slam on Hogan. Orndorff drops another elbow. Gets another 2 count. Orndorff with a top rope punch to the sternum of Hogan. Orndorff signals for the piledriver. Hogan reverses it into a backdrop. The crowd comes to life. Orndorff with a kick, and he attacks Hogan's face. Orndorff then biting Hogan in the face. Then Orndorff argues with the referee. Orndorff with a back suplex to Hogan. That gets a 2 count for Orndorff, but Hogan's foot is under the ropes. Orndorff thinks he's won. Hogan starts to hulk up. Hogan with a high knee to Orndorff, who runs into the referee and knocks him down. Hogan with a short clothesline. Hogan goes for a piledriver on Orndorff, but Heenan comes in and hits Hogan with a stool. Orndorff covers Hogan, but the referee is still out and there's no one to count the pin. The referee comes over and taps Orndorff's shoulder, and Orndorff thinks he's won. Heenan brings the championship belt in, and Orndorff raises it high. The bell rings. Heenan straps the championship around the waist of Orndorff. Howard Finkel announces Hulk Hogan the winner by disqualification. Orndorff is livid. He pushes Finkel out of the ring. Orndorff attacking Hogan. Orndorff goes to attack Hogan with the belt. Hogan blocks it and kicks Orndorff. Hogan with a right hand to knock Orndorff down. Then a clothesline to knock Orndorff down again. Big boot to Orndorff, and he rolls to the outside. Hogan races the championship. and Orndorff attacks him from behind. Hogan runs Orndorff out of the ring. They show a replay of what's happened, and the end credits roll as they sign off from Toronto. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at @TheJoeyHarris. If you like the show, please leave a review in iTunes or Apple Podcasts. I would really appreciate it. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey saying so long from Stately, Maine Manor.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.